Power level talk is something people rarely take seriously in their everyday lives. With Dragon Ball or Marvel movies, it seems appropriate to talk about power levels from time to time because, like, all the characters are overpowered and stuff, and people know it. But a lot of the time there just isn't a whole lot of source material to discuss this topic in any particular film, movie, game, etc. And that's where the Sonic series comes in. A series of games about a blue animal that turns into a ball and runs really fast. Surely the perfect place for discussing power levels, right? No, but seriously. The Sonic series is in this weird place in which anyone with the right mind would think it's just cutesy and doesn't take itself too seriously, and they'd be right. Half the time, because in the other half you've got a bunch of characters able to time travel instantaneously, teleport entire space stations, escape black holes, and kill giant monsters with the power of destroying time and space as you know it. And that might sound a tad overwhelming for newcomers, and I completely get it. But I'm not here to be apologetic to this juggernaut of a canon. No, I'm here to embrace it. Which is why today, I'm having a serious talk on Sonic power levels. Please bear with me. If you've played a Sonic game to its more surface level, you'll know the dude has at least some abilities. He can run at accelerating speeds, destroy robots, machines, and all sorts of evil guy stuff. Obviously that would make him stronger than any human or invention in real life, but that's nothing special in the world of fiction. Most characters in video games are able to destroy large troops with special abilities. Well, that's where the Chaos Emeralds appear. I won't lie to anyone. These are just Dragon Ball ripoffs, and so is the super transformation that Sonic gets when using it. It's shameful for me, it's shameless from Sega, but it's also irrelevant to this conversation. When Sonic gets these jewels, dude's godlike levels of powerful. He managed to take down a monster who was able to destroy the entirety of New York City by just manifesting in his physical form. In Sonic Unleashed, he slaughtered a monster that's the actual incarnation of darkness, has 6 arms and is around 800 meters tall. With the help of others, he was able to kill a monster that's able to erase time and space twice. There's also that space station I talked about, who he was able to teleport with the help of Shadow, while the entire thing was falling at a massive speed to Earth. And that's not to mention other transformations like Darkspine Sonic, who took down a dude who literally erased his whole world in his own world. Like, how's that even possible? Or Excalibur Sonic, who defeated a lady who's really powerful. She doesn't have any amazing feats, but take my word. And you might be saying, well, okay, he is kind of a god when he has those MacGuffins, but those MacGuffins aren't him, they're external. Well, I'd argue they make him way stronger than the average power-up of a game, but you know what? Okay, let's see some feats on his base form. Remember that water guy who managed to destroy New York City by just existing? Well, in Sonic Generations, Sonic defeated him once again, only this time without his super form. Remember that monster who's the incarnation of darkness? Well, dude has a primary face that's weaker than his perfect form, but still capable of destroying the world. Well, turns out Sonic, in his cutesy little ball form of his, inflicted so much damage into him that it almost killed him. Shall we talk about his speed once again, because oh boy! Omega, essentially an accurate computer, said he was faster than light. Now we never see him actually go that fast, so we end up with the dilemma of feat versus statement. So okay, how about an actual feat? He almost outran a black hole. We don't know if it was as powerful as the ones in real life, but still, wow. So yeah, Sonic is pretty damn strong, but he's far from the only one in his series. Shadow, Blaze and Knuckles have all shown to be able to rival him in a fight. Knuckles was able to take Sonic out of his super form with a simple head knock. Shadow is incredibly skilled in the art of chaos control, using it to its fullest potential in various circumstances, and both Shadow and Blaze can rival Sonic's speed. And then there's my boy Silver, who has been nerfed in recent years, but in his first appearance, he was able to neutralize Sonic in an instant. Yikes. Naturally, all of this fighting has led to some semblance of a character matchup discussion over the years. While most agree that Knuckles is weaker than Sonic, it's still on debate whether or not the same can be said for these two. Tails is occasionally analyzed, and there's this surprisingly in-depth video about the true power of Cream the Rabbit, which is awesome, but the talk was never all that spicy. No. The real deal comes down to comparing Sonic to characters from other franchises. Mario was, is, and will always be Sonic's rival. People like to constantly say how Mario is a bazillion times better than him to the point it's not even a comparison, but they still do the comparison, so the rivalry is still there. This logically applies to power level talk. If you ask me, Mario has simply never shown any feat as big as the ones I've mentioned for Sonic, and trust me, I've played a good chunk of Mario games. However, the discussion is still there, primarily because of channels like Screw Attack making their death battle videos. If Mario vs Sonic is a case of Sonic fans getting mad at the fact that that's even a question, then Goku vs Sonic is a case of Sonic fans causing that same feeling to the opposite side. And look, I've never seen Dragon Ball, but I know very well that the characters from it are batshit powerful. At least more so than any protagonist in Western media I've known. There's a surprising amount of videos making a case for Sonic in the matchup, but there's nothing I can really add to that. I think all of this comes down to fans talking about nearly all interpretations of the characters, not just Mario and Sonic from the main games, but also their appearances on comics, TV shows and spin-offs like Archie Comics and Sonic X for Sonic, and stuff like Mario and Luigi or Paper Mario for Mario, which obviously leads to a lot of debate. In Sonic's main appearances, however, I can safely say that Sonic is way more powerful than a lot of mainstream characters I know to a certain degree. Judging by all these feats, I think it's plausible to say he can defeat a sizable portion of Marvel heroes, any character in Harry Potter or pretty much every TV show I love, at least in his super form. And for a character that looks like this, that is quite a feat. But at last, that is all speculation. There's a lot of discrepancies between games and movies, or just between games of different franchises, to even make a comparison. If only there was a way of judging the strength of Sonic alongside multiple characters in an objective, impartial way. There really isn't, but Smash Bros gets kinda close. Smash might be a crossover of various characters from various video game franchises, but it's still a fighting game, which means the power of a character comes down to dumb stuff like hitboxes, frame data, and other stuff that's just the developers on a dice roll. However, Smash can still show some representation of the power of a character via movement and cutscenes, and since the same applies to every character in the game, comparisons can be made. Now Sonic can only do the most common of his attacks on normal play, but he does get to go Supersonic on his final smash. In Subspace Emissary, Sonic managed to counter Taboo, a character previously shown to neutralize almost entire roster with one move, essentially confirming that Sonic is the strongest character in Smash, at least Smash Brawl. More recently, in the World of Light intro, he's shown to not be able to escape Galim, or Galim, I don't even know, even though he's proven in his games to be able to tackle such a foe, which is a bit sad, but whatever. I don't think anyone's gonna look at this and really say X character is better than Y. Again, this is another interpretation and world for all these characters, but it still helps delivering on the idea that Sonic is quite strong. The mainstream world still seems to believe that Sonic is nothing more than a silly little mascot that isn't capable of dealing with universal threats, and if you ask me, that's perfectly okay. There's no need to relate a blue hedgehog with gods and the apocalypse, and yet I still think those elements are worth talking about. Power level talk in the Sonic series may be dumb, but it's pretty darn fun, and in the right occasion, it can add up to the cool factor that this series seems to be so much focused on. That's why, while I understand why Sega didn't bring up Super Sonic or the Chaos Emeralds for Sonic Forces' campaign, I can't help but be a little disappointed, and I hope all this silly power nonsense is brought back in the future. This video was just an excuse for me to unapologetically talk about a guilty pleasure of mine, but I still hope I managed to make a legitimate case for the preservation of this topic in the series. Why did this series even have such a powerful character in the first place? I don't know. It's as if Kirby had the power of killing interdimensional gods or something. Wait.